Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to see if I am coming on here. Let's see. It says live. There we are. There's my arm. I hate seeing my arm in that picture. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I will look for comments just to make sure we are up and running. We're a couple of minutes ahead of time here too, but we'll double check that we are good. Get my arm out of there. Yay, there we go. I see the comments coming up, so that's good. We are good to go. Let me move these up a tiny little bit. These are going to be our cards today. Good morning, good morning. Chair here. I am out of sync. I have not done this in a while. It's nice to be back with all of you. It's been awesome though. I've been so thrilled to see that. Of course, Diane always does so many of them, but it was great to see Jen do a crafty hour and Joe do a crafty hour. That way you get different styles. You see the different things that we do. I always think you guys get sick of what I do, but I have a certain style and it's hard to go off what you do. So I love to see the other girls and their ideas and that as well. It's just been absolutely fantastic, but I am very excited to be back with you today. So it is Diane Henderson, and yeah, I think that's it. I can see everybody is logging on, which is fantastic. We have 3 cards we're going to work with today. This last card here is the one that you got that absolutely awesome oak leaf die. And I'm going to show you another turn on that as well. So then that way you can play around with it. I just wasn't sure if everybody would have the supplies that they would need to do it. So I'm going to show you it, and then you can always reproduce it because it is super easy. This die is just fantastic. So I just did a kind of a quicker one with not worrying about gluing it down, which I found kind of hard because it was so thin, so detailed in that as well. So yeah, when we get to that one, I will go over that with you too. I thought when I got the kit handed to me from Diane, it was like going to be all fall. And then I was really quite excited to see that it really wasn't. And I thought, well, this way we could just do an all occasion idea for these cards. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining with me today. Sunny New West. It's sunny in Langley as well, Susan. Beautiful to see the sunshine. I love the crisp, cold mornings. I don't mind those at all. It's so nice to be into fall. So, anyways, I am going to, yeah, we're going to get started and play around. If you're just sitting and enjoying your coffee, please just do that. If you want to work with me, great. I did put out a few homework things, of course, embossing folders, you know me. You would have had to have those done, and if you do not have those done, don't worry about it. You can do these whenever you want. This will be on the Crafty Hour Creations, and you can watch it whenever you'd like and work with them. The second card we're going to work with today, and I'll get to it in a few minutes, I thought would lend itself to doing for Christmas. Give you an idea of a design, and then that way you could use it for Christmas cards, but we're going to obviously not work with Christmas today. We're just going to do a couple of all occasion cards. So I'm thankful to have you with me. So why don't we get started? So the first card, I'll just take these guys out of the way. The first card we're going to work with is this so cute little one. I just thought this would be so nice for a shower, for a birthday, anything. It just made me happy with the cute little umbrellas. And so I thought, well, I'll work with the die cuts and we'll do it that way. So we'll get started on it. When I sent out homework, I sent out the die cut card, and I just put all the die cuts onto it just so that you would be able to see which ones to pull, because the wonderful thing about Spellbinders kits that we use so often in our crafty hours is you just get so many die cuts, which is just absolutely fantastic. And the nice thing about it is you get 2 of pretty well everything, which makes that so much easier for myself and Courtney or any of the other girls and Courtney, because we don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to use this umbrella so you can't use it. We both have them. So that way we can both design using them and that as well, which is just absolutely fantastic. So you always get so many die cuts, and they're so hard to sort of dig through and find if you want to do the cards as we go along. So good morning to all of you. Thank you so much. I see Jen's on there too, and I just said a sec ago, Jen, if you weren't on, how much I enjoyed your crafty hour as well. I was actually in Disneyland when Jen did her crafty hour, and I did take a peek in with that as well. It's just nice, like I say, to see the different designs, because we all do things in a different way, which is fantastic. So these are our die cuts we're going to use for card number 1. And I do have your pieces that you are going to work with, and I have them written down here. So I will be putting them here. You're welcome to take a screenshot. I will also post them tonight. So I will post the sample, and I'll post the directions as we go along too. So then you'll have them if you want to reproduce the card. So the one thing I asked you to do in homework for this first card was to emboss a piece of cardstock, and we are going to cut it down. So I think I said 3.5, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I made it a little bit bigger. That way we could cut it down to size for the class today. So we are going to do that. I'm just going to move this guy over here. Make sure you can still see it, and that way I can get my cutter out here, my wonderful Spellbinders cutters, and I know so many of you have been able to get those. It's just the best trimmer ever. So if you need a trimmer or you're looking for a gift for somebody for Christmas, make sure you look towards the Spellbinder trimmer. It is my absolute favorite. So I didn't put it in homework because I thought it might be too confusing, but I actually used half of one of the cards that you were given. You always get cards and envelopes in the Spellbinders kits, and I find that this paper embosses so nicely. It's almost like a, I don't know, like a fibrous paper, and it really embosses so beautifully. So all I did was cut one of my cards in half and emboss it, and we're just going to cut it down a little bit here. So we're going to cut it to 3 7/8. So just before your 4-inch mark here, the 3 7/8, we're going to cut it down that way. So this is your embossed piece, and we're going to cut it to 5 1/8. There we go. So not very much off of it at all. But I just wanted to, I thought it was too difficult to say make sure you use one of your cards. It really didn't matter. And of course the background embossing folder in this is Flower Frenzy, and if any of you have watched my other crafty hours, it's my absolute favorite embossing folder, so I use it all the time. So that is your embossed piece that we've got here to cut it to that. And then you also had a great package of the cardstock that you get from Spellbinders as well. Why am I not finding my pink? Here it is. I put it over this side. The pink sheet that we have here, we're going to use that as our little background for the embossed piece here. So we're going to cut the pink mat to 4 1/8. So we're going to go 4 1/8 this way. And it, like I say, it's just 1/8 off because these are 4 1/4 inches. Good morning, Courtney. Thank you for jumping on today. It's great to see you. And we're going to cut it to 5 3/8. So again, just 1/8 of an inch off because these are 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/4, 5 1/2. So that is your pink mat. And again, like I was saying before with Courtney and I having to share things and that as well, it's always so nice in the Spellbinders kit. You get 4 sheets of the different colors of cardstock. They always provide the cardstock in most of their kits, and you get all the different colors, and you can also, they also give you 4 sheets. So I can play with 2, she can play with 2, and we never have to worry about having, you know, not leaving you enough for her crafty hour creation, or crafty hour, which will come later today. So that is your white onto your pink. So that's what it's showing there. And the other thing I used for this one is just the card. So the card that you're given. So like I say, they give you card bases and they give you envelopes in the kit. We're just going to use this card base as our card. So it just leaves a tiny little white border on the outside. So just like that. So we've got our embossed piece, our pink piece, and our card base. And we'll put those together in just a second. The next thing I want you to do is in your, so I'm going to grab this, but like I say, I will post them later if you needed to have any kind of dimensions. We're going to cut a piece of the plaid, the pink plaid paper, which was this one here. This is in your pattern pack. Again, they give you so many different patterns, pattern pieces of paper. So it's in your package of pattern papers, if you can grab that. And what I did with this one is I cut it in half because again, these ones, unlike the cardstock, we only get one sheet of each of the pattern ones. And I'm not sure what Courtney's using later on. I always give her a heads up of what I'm using just so that we don't use a full sheet. But if she was going to use half of it, I want to make sure that she's got that half left. So if you want to cut your 6 by 6 inch piece of the plaid paper in half, so it would be 3 inches, obviously. So you're going to have a 3-inch strip of this paper, the plaid paper, and then you're going to cut it into a square. So it's going to be 3 inches the other way. So now you have a square that is 3 by 3. You actually have an extra square too. So if you wanted to do it on a different card, you still have extra paper. And then what we're going to do, because on the card you can see that all I did was use this tiny little just made it into like a diagonal kind of background border. I'm just going to cut it diagonally. And so what I do is I just put it onto my Spellbinders trimmer, just like that. Line up your line where it's going to cut, and then just cut it. And now you have the 2 pieces. And of course, this plaid doesn't matter where the design is. If you were using a paper that had a pattern going a certain way, you just want to make sure that you have your piece that's going to look right in the corner. So that is all your pieces that we're going to cut. So we're going to take I'm going to take my trimmer away, because now we're just basically going to build. We're going to build, we'll do our background here first, and then we'll build our die cuts onto the card itself that we pulled from the homework. So what I did is I'm going to attach my embossed piece, and I used foam tape just so I had a little bit of dimension. If you want to do it flat, then you go right ahead and do it flat. I'm just going to use my little foam squares. The other thing I forgot to mention, and I don't want to go any further before I do, so I don't forget, this is Crafty Hour 50. I had the honor of doing Crafty Hour 40, and I expected somebody to deliver me a mimosa. I never got that, and I'm not going to get it at 50 either. But no, I cannot believe 50. Like, that's so crazy. And the amount of work that Diane and Courtney put into finding all these kits for us to create with, it's just absolutely amazing. So congratulations to both of you, and congratulations to all of you, because I'm sure a lot of you have done so many of them. And I don't know about you, but when I do them, the amount of product that is left over is just incredible. So congratulations to, especially to Diane and Courtney, for putting this on, because it really is an amazing little thing. And you don't, the nice thing about it is you don't have to do what we do. We give you the ideas, but you don't need to you don't need to do exactly what we're doing. We're just giving you ideas to play around with, and it's a nice way to just spend an hour just doing some crafting. And we try and keep it as simple as possible, and I'm really honored to be a part of it. So again, before I forget, congratulations. So all I've done is I've just put my little foamy guys on the back of my embossed piece. I'm going to stick that onto my pink piece. I'm just going to cut couple here in the middle so they don't kind of cave. And of course you can use foam tape in that as well, whichever you prefer. Okay, so we're going to put our embossed piece onto, let me just move this up so you can see it, onto the pink piece. Okay, so there you go. And then we are going to put these two pieces onto our card base, and again with foam tape. I like to have the dimension. If you don't want to, if you want to make sure it's just completely flat. The nice thing about these little foamies, I use these scrapbook adhesive ones that I know that Courtney and Diane use all the time as well. They're not super thick, so I don't find that it gives you a lot of dimension if you're wanting to mail your card. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. But with most of my cards, because I like to pop up the die cuts or pop up things, I tend to just put them on top of a gift, a box of chocolates or a frame, or especially over the holidays, I prefer to hand deliver. But of course, I mean, we have to remember those that are far away and mail their cards too. So whatever you prefer to do, you can use foam or you can make the cards more flat. Get all these little squares off here. I think that's all of them. Okay, so then we're just going to stick the two pieces that we've put together onto our card base as well. So this is our card base, and it fits absolutely perfectly. You're just going to have a tiny little white border around the outside. And I keep all my leftover cards and envelopes from all of the kits that, you know, a lot of you do every crafty hour. So it's amazing to keep them because it's just great to be able to play with them. And like I say, the paper to emboss is fantastic. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick our little corner embellishment, the plaid paper, just down here. And I'm just going to do that flat. So I'm just going to use my tape runner here. And just put it into the corner. And I left a tiny little bit of a white border. So I didn't put it flush up against the side. I just left a tiny little border, probably about 1/8 of an inch, something like that, just to give it that little bit of a background. So that is our card base. Super simple. And of course you could always do this too and just do your glue around this side, and you could tuck something in there too, a little gift card or something if you wanted to on the cover. That's entirely up to you. We're kind of going to do something similar to that on card number 2. Okay, so then let's grab our die cuts and we're going to build our little topper that we have here. So I'll just put my die cuts here. So we're going to grab our large umbrella first, this one here. I just put that on repositionable tape. Okay, and what I did with this is I just stuck it into the center of my card. And I did put this on with foam tape. So I'm just kind of positioning it just to make sure that I have it where I like it. And then I'll just put some little foamies onto the back of it. So I just pop that guy up. And yeah, like I say, you can do this as you know, as much as you want. If you'd rather have it built up even more, if you know Deanna, you would have double foam tape. But yeah, it's entirely up to you. It just gives it the dimension. I love working with these squares. I just find them so easy to be able to place them. And the little ones, and then I love the mix packs because you get the little and the big. Okay, so we're just going to position that where I want to have it. It's probably about 1/2 inch down from the top and in the center. And you don't have to worry about this guy because he's going to be covered. So you don't have to worry about gluing that down. Okay, so there's our little umbrella. The next thing is that we are going to put the upside down umbrella. So this cute one with the flowers. And we're going to put it below the handle. So you're just going to have the handle going down, and it's hidden underneath the die cut. And I use double foam tape on this only because I wanted it to be higher than my umbrella that I put on. So you can just use your little squares and just double them up, or your foam tape, whatever easier for you. Everybody's doing okay. It's not a complicated class. I think we need non-complicated at the moment with everything going on. It's definitely getting close to 'tis that season. I am wearing my Halloween shirt, but boy, how many of us are already going past that and going straight into the holidays? So much to do, and I like to get as much done as I can ahead of time so I can enjoy. That is my goal. It doesn't always work that way, but it sure is nice. It's a great time of year, that's for sure. Okay, so we're going to stick our double foamies onto the back of the upside down umbrella. There we go. Last one. And then we're just going to stick that down. Little pieces. There we go. And I just did it, that's a little higher. It doesn't really matter. Just so you're about, a couple of squares up from the bottom. If you look at your plaid, it's probably a couple of rows up. And I like the dimension that that gives when you use the double foam tape to just do a double. It just really pops up over the, on the umbrella. Okay, and then the only other couple of things here we're gonna do is these two guys. What I did with this one is I just tucked the blue flowers underneath, and I tucked the green umbrella onto the other side. So all I did for this is I just tucked it underneath my, the umbrella on this side, and not too far down, because what I like to do is pop these flowers up. I didn't put any foamy or anything in behind those. And all I used is just my glue, my Nuvo glue, and put a little bit of it down in the bottom, just down here, and then just tucked it in. So you can put foam tape on it if you prefer. If you want to have it a little bit more stable, you're welcome to do that too. I just thought they look kind of neat to be able to pop up. And I just use my tweezers just so I can make sure I kind of push it down. And then I can pop up my flowers afterwards. Pull this guy back up again. There we go. Okay, so we just have our flowers popped up on that side and the little green umbrella on the other side. Now, I didn't put any foam tape in behind the green umbrella because, again, I kind of wanted to have the same effect as the flowers. So I just kind of tucked it in under that. You're welcome to put it more flat if you'd prefer. Maybe you'd want to go right flat because these have dimensions, or you can do exactly what I did and just leave it so that it's kind of just sort of floating up and down. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the handle again, and then just stick it underneath this side of the flower bouquet. And if you find it gets stuck, like you've got your glueies in there, then what I would do is just grab your scissors, cut the handle off it, and put a little bit more glue on. And then it can just be tucked in because it doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about, you're not going to see that handle anyways. So we just want to, you can even pop it up a little bit like that. And then just stick your little guy in there. Again, I just use my tweezers to hold it down. And then he just sort of, again, pops up, just like the flowers. So the flowers sort of whimsical on this side, the green umbrella on this side. Okay, so that's that part done. And then the little butterfly, there were a lot of little butterflies. So if you grab the grab the right one, perfect. If not, don't worry about it. You can use anything you want. And I just put a little bit of foam tape in between on the back of him, because what I want to do is kind of fold it in half so the wings come up just like that. And I just sort of position it wherever you'd like in the bouquet. Just in the center of the bouquet, just like that. Okay, and then the last one, the last little die cut, good, is this tiny little blue flower. And you just want to use, even these foam dots are probably too big, so you can just snag a little piece off of it with your scissors. There we go. Stick it on the back of the flower. And again, you position your flower wherever you'd like. I just went sort of above this pink daisy and had it on the other side. And that was the completion of the card. Now, the only other thing that I did was that this little guy's just not sticking, but we'll make sure he does. There we go. The only other thing I added was this adorable little happy thoughts. You received a whole bunch of different, these are foamies I didn't even use. This is your sheet of the chipboard, and one of the chipboard phrases says happy thoughts. So I just stuck it flat. I didn't put foam in behind it. You could if you wanted to. I just stuck it flat at the bottom of the umbrella, just like that. And I thought, what a nice card, like get well, shower, thinking of you, any of it. And you don't even have to put the happy thoughts on there. You can use one of your sentiments and have thinking of you and have it coming off the umbrella as well. Just a really cute little quick thinking of you card, and utilizing these, like I say, amazing die cuts. And then the other thing that I did, and you know me too, I use the Spellbinders, and I know we have quite a few of these in stock at Clipper Street right now, and Courtney probably does too, or can definitely get them. These are the Fashion Gold embellishment dots. I use these all the time because I love the fact that they have such variety of size, from the tiny teeny little guys all the way up to the bigger ones. And I just use the teeniest one, the gold, and put it on the top of the umbrellas and also in the center of the flower. They have silver as well, so if you prefer to have silver, I just thought it lended itself to the gold. So it's just a nice little embellishment. You could even put one in the center of the butterfly if you wanted to too, but I thought it really added something to the top of the umbrellas. Okay, so that is our card number 1. I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, I thought it was just kind of a quick and easy one, and utilizing the nice supplies that you have. Okay, so we're going to move on to card number 2. And where did I put my card number 2? Here it is. So this is card number 2. And I did this one thinking of the holidays, because I thought, here's an idea that you could give somebody a card. This is your card, but you've put this cute little pocket on the top and made it into like a gift and a card all at the same time. So I thought, well, this would be kind of fun, and I'll also talk about the envelope that you can do to match either. Now, if this looks familiar to you, back in, oh geez, I can't even remember how long ago, we did this sunflower. For those of you that were that joined this Crafty Hour, I love this line. It was just such a nice line, and in fact, we still have some of these kits. If you still wanted to do any sunflower stuff, give us a show, because I believe we still have some of them available. So this one, if you remember, we made the card. So this is the card base, just like this one that we're going to do today. And then we put this kind of easel card on top, and the idea is that it stands like that. Let me just see if it'll stand properly in the camera. How do I get it? Yeah, so like that, and it was like a little easel. And that was the idea behind it. You could stick a little gift card in here, you could stick a photo in if you wanted to. So I thought, well, why can't we take the same idea, but let's make it into a gift card holder instead. So the only thing that I eliminated for this one is on this one that we made before, we put paper inside here. We're not going to bother with that because we're not going to need it. But what we did is we just sealed up the sides, and now it formed the little pocket on the outside. So let's create it. Like I say, if you've done it before, you might go, hey, this looks kind of familiar. It is familiar, but I thought, what a great way at Christmas time. You can use your Christmas paper for your background. All of us have Christmas die cuts and things like that, or sentiment or whatever. And then you can add your gift cards, your Starbucks card or whatever card you want to have for people. So I'm going to grab my die cuts over here at the moment. Here's our instructions on what we want to do. And I'll put it up here so that you can see it. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to make our tent card base. So that is just the part that is just the tent. Okay, we're not working on the gift card part yet. We're just doing the tent card. So you're going to grab a piece. I asked you if you could grab some extra sheets of white cardstock. That would be great. So you've got your piece of white cardstock. Let me just move this over so I can get my trimmer out again. Here we go. Okay, and we're going to cut a piece of white cardstock and cut it this way. You're going to cut it at 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, so if you cut it at 4 1/4, it's going to be exactly in half. So 4 1/4, and it's already 11 inches. So you don't have to worry about anything this way. We're at 4 1/4 by 11. Unless you're using a 12 by 12 piece of paper, you're good to go. 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, so this is the other thing I love about this trimmer, because my scoring blade and my cutting blade always have a home. I am not looking for it. I don't have to have it in my drawer. This is my cutting blade. This is my scoring blade. They're always on my trimmer. So it is just a great, great, great trimmer. Okay, so there's our score line done. So this has formed our tent card. So that's our card base. There we go. We can just set that aside for a second. And I will take this away, and like I say, I will post them later, so don't worry if you didn't get it right away. And then this is your gift card pouch piece, okay? So again, we're gonna take a piece of cardstock. Well, guess what? We cut that piece of 8 1/2 by 11 in half. We can use the other half because it's only 4 inches. So you only needed 1 sheet of white cardstock. So we're going to cut this at 4 inches, again, vertically. And we're just going to take 3/4 of an inch off because it's 11 inches. We're going to cut it to 10 1/4 inches. So 4 inch by 10 1/4. Just move this guy for a second so I can swing out my trimmer. There we go. And we're going to cut it to 10 1/4. So you're just taking 3/4 of an inch off. And we are going to score it at 2 1/2 and 5 inches. Okay, so you're going to take your scoring blade. You're going to go to 2 1/2 on your trimmer and score it. And then we're going to go to 5 inches on our trimmer and score it. Okay, and that is that part done. So how this is going to work, we'll do in a sec when we do our kind of start putting stuff together. So right now we have our tent card and we have our gift card pouch card. Okay, those 2 pieces are done. Everybody's okay? Everybody's doing well, I hope? Good. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. The next piece is, again, if you can grab your cardstock that you have this pretty blue cardstock as well. And again, you can change out your colors. If you'd rather use something different, go for it. These are just the dimensions that we're working with here. So we're going to cut a piece of the blue cardstock, let me move that down a bit, to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And we can just set that to the side. We'll just get all our pieces cut first and then we'll start assembling. And then I had asked you to cut 2 pieces of white cardstock for this card, just because I wasn't sure what size your embossing folder or whatever it was. So I just said cut 2. And we're going to cut this one to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, so I'm going to take the top of that off just because I can see it has a tiny little bit of a border. Okay, so we're going to cut 3 5/8. So 3 1/2, go 1 more. There's your 3 5/8. And cut by 4 7/8. So not quite 5, just below our 5. This was a bigger embossing folder, a 6x6. This is actually one of my new favorite embossing folders. This is that LDRS embossing folder. This one, it's called Perfect Petals. I don't think we have any more in stock at the moment. Courtney may. It's a beautiful embossing folder, and it embosses as like I always play with my Flower Frenzy, but boy, this one is so nice and detailed as well. So that's your first embossed piece. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. Everybody's okay? I'm not going too fast. We're doing good. Okay, and I say I'll post these later, so don't worry. Okay, and then we're going to cut a piece, and this piece here we're going to cut is just for embellishing our little front of our cardstock pouch when we go to put our gift card pouch, sorry, on the front there. So you're going to have another piece of your blue because you're given 2 of them, and you're going to cut it 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. So it's just a small little piece because it's just going on the front. So just like that. Okay. And then you may even, depending on the size of your embossing folder, you may have even had a piece left over where you cut off that would be big enough for your one on the front, but it was hard for me to determine how big your piece was going to be. So I just thought I'll get you to emboss 2 and then we can cut it down. So cut one of your other embossed pieces. We've had 2. This is our second one, and we're going to cut it to 3 5/8. So just over 3 1/2 by 2 1/8. Just over 2. And like I say, all that is just to go on the front of our little gift card holder. So just like that. Okay, so I think now we are ready to assemble. And then we'll do our, let's do our, no, that's okay. Let's start assembling here, and then we can do anything else that we need to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fold up gift card part that we had the score lines on. That's this guy here. Okay, and we're going to fold it in and fold it out. So we're going to fold the big part over. You're noticing it's not matching up. That's okay. You don't need to worry about it. And then we're just going to fold it in front. So that has formed our little gift card part here. And we're not going to seal it yet because we want to put our paper inside. So that's what you want to make sure that we have it. So we're going to grab our bigger sheet of the blue cardstock that we cut to size, and your bigger piece of your emboss folder. So those 2 things, just like that. Okay, and I put these flat because I thought I don't really need to have the buildup inside the little pouch when we go to make it. So I just did it flat. So if you want to stick your emboss piece onto your blue piece with your glue runner or your sequin or whatever you have, your glue, do that. Just stick your embossed piece onto your blue piece. And again, it's just got a tiny little border around the outside. There we go, flat. And then we are going to put it onto our easily or gift card pouch piece flat as well, because again, I'm just trying to keep as much bulk. When you want to seal this up, you don't want to have it too bulky inside. So you can just do that flat too. Just like that. And flat. If you want to use foam tape, you're welcome to. Hi Sandy, thank you for joining us and thanks for your kind words. Okay, so just put this on and just get it so that you have the border around the outside. So just like that. Okay, and then let's do the same thing with our little ones. We're going to put those on to the outside of this now as well. So again, I would just do this part flat. So my small little embossed piece onto my blue piece flat. And then totally up to you, but I would put this on with my foam tape. Just because then it gives it a little bit dimension on the outside and it's not making any difference to the inside part. Okay, so then you can just take your little foamies off. Again, if you prefer to have it flat, that's totally fine too. Okay, so then that can go on this outside piece. So just like that. So now you can see that you've got it pretty well continuing, like that it's all on the outside, but this has formed your little gift card pouch here. Okay, and there we go. All right, so then the only other thing that I used was I used a piece of the little tea paper because I thought, well, it would really lend itself to this because it kind of has a sort of a little tea theme with the coffee pot or teapot on the outside of it. So I just cut a strip of this paper, the tea paper, and again what I did was I cut it in half to 3 inches so that I knew I wasn't going to use more than I would if Courtney wanted to use it later on. And I just cut a strip that was about 1.5. Yep, 1.5 by 4 3/4, because we're just going to tuck it inside this. And so we don't need it to be, it doesn't really matter how far down, it's going to be hidden by our pocket. So just take your, and I would just do that flat. So 1.5 by 4 3/4 for that strip. Or you could do it a bit wider, whatever you prefer. But it just sort of ties it all in with a little bit of pattern, but not too much pattern. And I just tuck that there. So there's that. Okay. And we had our tent card that we did before. So now you can see that that's just going to stick on the outside of it, and that's what's formed our little pocket to be able to add our die cuts to it, and then also add our little gift card in there too. So when I wanted to attach my make my pocket up, I would suggest, only because it is so strong, is I would suggest sequin, only because it will hold it. If you want to use your glue runner or whatever, you could use that too, but you probably are going to have to just sort of sit with it for a little bit and let it dry, because you don't want to have it obviously popping open. And the other thing is that, there we go, that. And you obviously just want to do it on the two sides because we want to have it opened for our pouch. And then that would just fold up and stick down. Okay, and then you're left with this flap. So an idea, you could keep this little pocket, do your die cuts, you could put your gift card in here if you wanted to. But what I did was I closed that up. I put my glue runner onto it and closed it up because I really wanted it to just be a little pocket and not a little flap up. But you have the option of doing it either way. So, sorry, Gloria. Yes, the teacup paper, I thought I had it written on my sheet and I didn't. It was 1.5 inches wide by 4 3/4. So that's the teacup strip that you're just sticking on the inside of it. So that forms our little gift card pocket. Okay, and then I would take this and I would put it onto my background card that we did initially, and I would do that with foam tape just so that it's popped up a little bit off the background. And I'm just going to put a couple of little guys on here so that I don't take up too much time. And this is just going to stick onto our tent card. And just again, just hold it and just get the little border around the outside. There's probably about 1/8 of an inch border that goes all around the outside of your card. And that is our card. Okay, so then we're just going to do our die cuts, and we're going to so what I did was, let me grab my die cuts that I had over here. Die cuts go. And like I say to you, what I was saying before as well, that there are so many die cuts, so you can play around. If you didn't want to use the teapot, if you wanted to have a different sort of theme, you are welcome to do that. I don't know where my die cuts have disappeared to. Oh, here they are. Put them over this side. Here's our die cuts. Okay, so the large bouquet. So this, when I said large bouquet, I meant this one here. Are we doing our top first? Just give me 1 second. Okay, we're going to start with this guy. So this is the bouquet. This is what I talk about when I say bouquet. And I tucked him in here. If you can see it with this card, I tucked it in behind. So the end of the bouquet is sticking down just like that. So I put it like this. Again, you can put however you want to have these. If you want to have them flat, if you want to have them foamy, whatever you want. This one, starting with, I just added glue. So I just did it flat. I just tucked it inside, just like that. And had it kind of coming off the side too. So obviously you'd need to have, you know, a bigger envelope. Okay, then the next one, this one was the large bouquet. No, this guy here. This little tiny bouquet. You can see him here. He's just tucked into the pocket as well. And I used foam tape. So I had the little flower coming up. But again, you can play around with these. If you're, you know, when I did this sample, how this card is going to look is probably going to be totally different. And I only just tucked in a couple of little foam dots. I didn't worry about putting too many around because it's just really giving us the dimension for that. Okay, and as you can see, the leaves are kind of coming off this way. So I just sort of had it overlapping the bouquet and with the little leaves coming up. And I kind of tucked it into my pocket. So that pink flower the pink flower down here at the bottom sort of disappears. If you want to have more of it, keep it sticking out a little bit more. But I just had it kind of overlapping like that. And then I tucked this pretty metallic gold sprig, and I just used glue and tucked it in just like that. So we just have the three kind of effects of the three things coming over here. So I just put a bit of glue on that and tucked it in. And so many of us now have die cuts too that are these sprigs that they've either come with our Crafty Hours, or there's been so many on the market in that as well. So you can always use extra sprigs too and stick them in behind. I love doing that. Okay, so then we're going to take our bouquet, this larger bouquet piece that I asked you to pull, and it's just going to go on top like this. And so my idea is to kind of keep see this flower is up a little bit more than this flower. It doesn't matter, but I moved this flower up a bit more. But you can position this however you want. If you want to have the gold sprig over this way, whichever you want, I just stuck it on there and I put it on flat. And just keep your glue down at the bottom. You don't want to have the glue going over top of your little pocket or anything like that. So I'm just going to stick it flat. So you have the dimension on top, you have these guys in behind, you have this guy flat. And then we're going to take our coffee pot or teapot and just put it wherever you'd like. If you want to have it over more this way, if you want to see more of the gold dot or the gold flower, you can position it over. We're not putting anything over here. I didn't have anything. You could always put a larger sentiment like happy anniversary or thinking of you or whatever. Or like I say, if you decided to do these for the holidays, then Merry Christmas or whatever as well. And then just put foam tape in behind your coffee pot and stick him on top. Him there, and again position them wherever you like. But I just sort of kept it all to this one side so that I would have room for my gift card to tuck in there as well. Okay, and then the last one was the little die cut. I know I had this heart pulled too, and I must have lost my heart somewhere along the line because I don't see it on the card. But you could just put the little heart down here. You could put it wherever you like, or you could just not worry about it. It's not on this card, and to me it looks great. So, and then I just put my little butterfly again, just with a foam dot, just over top of my coffee pot. So just like that. And I put one of my gold dots in the center of the butterfly this time and the center of the flower. So I just had the two items there. And again, if you were doing this for the holidays, you could add like snowflakes or whatever you wanted to do. But I just thought it was a really cute little idea to be able to make it really into a gift, but you have they have the inside to write your sentiment and that on it as well. And I attached the friends. So again, the friends was out of your little chipboard package that you had. You have a whole bunch of different ones. You have your little foamy guys, or of course you could always use a stamp or something of your choice and have your sentiment down by the coffee pot or even off to the side because we have this space in here. So the only other thing I wanted to talk about this card was then again, of course, it's just sticking a little gift card into your card. And you want to make sure that's why we wanted to make sure this was over enough so your card will fit in. The other thing I use all the time, and I'm sure most of you have had these, they've been around forever. It's the We Are envelope maker. That's this here. It starts with your card size. It tells you what your paper size should be, and it tells you the score line that you can work on. And this is a great tool because you're able to match up. So I used another piece of our pretty cardstock paper that we had and made a little envelope that my gift card would fit into, and then I could just tuck it right into the card itself. So it would match, has the cute little hearts on it, and it would match, and it could just stick right inside there. And again, with all your holiday papers and things like that, that's just absolutely awesome that you could have that too. And then, you know, have your Christmassy paper and your sentiment. Fantastic idea for the holidays too. So that, we haven't had these for a bit. I know Stacy was ordering some, and I don't know if Scrapbook and Memories has them, but you can definitely get them. They're still out there, and it's just a fantastic tool to be able to make matching envelopes for anything, for your card. And they go up in size, like big cards, the whole bit. You can do your card, you can do anything, but I use them all the time when I've made a card. I usually put my gift card inside, and it usually is with the matching paper. You usually have scraps and that left over as well. So that's just a fun little idea to be able to add that to your cards. So that is card 2. So we're lower on time, so I'm going to just talk about card 3, and I will post the directions and everything for it as well. The one thing I wanted to talk about for this card, and I asked you to do your cutting out and that too with, there's the detailed piece, and we did the 2 pieces. All I did for this was I just, I'll give you the dimensions on cutting out the embossing folder that I used. I matted it in the cream, and I matted it in the brown, and just used dimension. And I'll post that for you. Don't worry about it. The leaves, I had a hard time, and I don't know if any of you have played around with it yet. Well, first of all, gluing to me wouldn't be an option. I don't think it would show up, or that you would see too much glue. You can't use foam because it's just so narrow for the vein part of the leaves. So I wasn't sure how many of you had one of these. This is the Sticky Folio from We Are Memory Keepers. And this is a fantastic tool if you're wanting to stick down detailed images. And I'll just sort of show you here, just because I have this piece that we had used. So this comes with sheets just like this. This is all little tiny bits of glue. It also comes with extra sheets, and you can buy refill sheets. So it comes just like this. I'm just going to use a new sheet. It also comes with a little scraper guy to be able to put it on and get the glue on it. Let me just get it open. Put it in. Okay, so all you have to do, so this is if you're wanting to actually stick it down, and because I didn't know how many of you would have something like this, I left it loose. All I did was use the glue dots, your glue dots that most of you probably have, and I just put a glue dot at the top of the veiny piece and a glue dot at the top of the patterned piece, and then I attached the little flower die cut that was in your kit with foam tape. So that's how I attach those. And this is just the end of the leaves sticking up. It's not ribbon or anything. So I thought it was a great way of using the die that you were given. But if you wanted to stick it down, if you have one of these sticky folios, all you do is you open it up, and it's got little tiny glue pieces all over it, just like this. Okay, so this is all glue on this sheet. You stick your leaf on there, kind of press it down, and use this little guy here. Okay, and just spread it out all over. Then when you go to pull this up, this is completely covered in glue. So now you can stick it down, and I didn't have any issues at all when I wanted to do it this way. So I could put it on here. I'm just going to use this white piece of paper and stick it down. And now I have my leaf. So that works great. If you were going to do glue or tape or foam, obviously it's going to be much more difficult. And like I say, I wasn't sure how many of you would have something like this. So I also did another card that I will post. I don't have directions or anything with it, but at least I can post a picture of it, because this is your fantastic die that you were given. The other thing I would say is if you're going to be working with wanting to get this, I found it was awesome on a glitter paper. So I did this card. So this shows you here. So here again is our background, just an embossed background, matted. I used this gorgeous coppery glitter. It's called Shiny Copper Glitter Cardstock. And so what I did was I die cut my veiny guy, this one here, out of the glitter. And I also die cutted my background, which is the piece that's just like this, just out of copper, out of cream cardstock. I stuck this onto here, and then I ran this again through, like just the leaf itself, through on my, when I die cutted it out, all these little pieces that came out of here, you would have known that you had all those little pieces. So I did it again out of patterned. And that way, it's basically like a puzzle piece. You're just gonna put all those pieces back into their place. I'll just show you here quick. And it's just basically filling it in. And so what I did was I used this, and I used my foam tape, and I just put little pieces of foam tape on it, and it built it up. So my foam tape is on here, and then I made I have the background out of the glitter paper and put it onto the card. So this is just another way of using that die. This die is amazing. I found it a little bit difficult trying to peel it off using cardstock. So I did find it a little bit easier to work with the glitter paper or something that had a little bit more substance to it. And then it wasn't quite so difficult trying to peel it off the background. So that's why I did a simple version of it, just so that all of you would be able to have a card made. And I do have the dimensions on what I used for the embossing folder, as well as the embossing folder. This piece is just a piece of brown cardstock, extra brown cardstock. So is my mat, and a card base. And then I also have this one. So this one I will just post, but basically all it is you're just going to cut your piece and then fill it all back in again. And it's just like a puzzle. It is. It's a fun way of adding in all the different pattern cardstock in that too. So that is an awesome die that they provided with the kit. The kit alone is amazing. And then when you are given a die like this too to play around with, just fantastic. So before I sign off, again, I'm probably a couple of minutes over. I apologize. Yeah, just 1 minute over. Thank you again for joining me. I really did enjoy being back with all of you today. Don't forget, Courtney is today is at 5 p.m. Pacific, so tune in. She always has an awesome crafty hour with fantastic ideas. Make sure you join Crafty Hour Creations. I always say that to make sure that you do that, because you can post your creations. It's a great way to get homework or ask any questions or anything like that. Don't forget, the next Crafty Hour is Crafty Hour 51 on November 7th. That one is sold out. That one was crazy popular, so it is sold out. The next one, Crafty Hour 52, will be revealed tomorrow at 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in. Deanna hinted yesterday that is going to blow your mind. So I would assume you want to check in on that one, because I'm sure it's just going to be fantastic as usual. I think that's it. I really do appreciate you being with me today. And if you have any questions, please ask them in the Crafty Hour Creations. Embossing folders I use, Sandy. I use the Flower Frenzy from Spellbinders. I use the LDRS one, this one, the Perfect Petals, for the gift card holder card. So Flower Frenzy in card 1, gift card holder card in this one. And I use which one did I use for card 3? It is also a Spellbinders one. I think it's called Floral and Vine. And it is in the embossing folder from Spellbinders. That's this one here that I will post the directions for tonight. And I promise to do that tonight when I get home. Any other questions, please just ask in Crafty Hour, and I'd be happy to answer them. I hope you all take care. I don't know if I'll see you before the end of the year, and if I don't, I wish you all the best, and I hope to be back with you again soon. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.